it's important for us moving along in this process of doing research to have theoretical foundations, to have theoretical framework, because even though as grand as our thesis topic and our thesis our idea is, if we cannot answer based on what is the basis, then it may not be logically sound. It may just be an impression. It may just be an illusion, worst case. So it's very important that as we look to the sky, our we have to have both feet on the ground. Okay, very important. We have theoretical foundation, and once we have the foundation, the thing that we built the structure up should have a framework, a theoretical framework, and a theoretical foundation. So for this discussion, I'm gonna talk to you how to construct that under 20 minutes. Right, so this would be our writing guide as just like I've provided in the past few weeks. A theory, we should have a theory, an underpinning theory for our independent variable, also an underpinning theory for the dependent variable. And for the IV, at least we should have three categories. Don't worry, I will discuss you what these categories are and why they're important. And also at least three categories for the DV, at least. Now, uh, in this guideline, the number of sentence per segment, what makes a substantial, uh, what makes a substantial segment on that chapter is also included. Okay. Uh, Again, I want to note that there are limitations for this guideline I presented because it's primarily for quantitative research that we're doing, where theories have already been used under quantitative, and we're just simply testing them in under a new context, under a new condition. So it's not exploratory, where the goal is to create new theories, but either way, even exploratory research still requires some understanding of the underpinning theories when it comes to that. So, with this guideline and for quantitative research, because it's easier to do and because there are 26 of you, makes this job easier and more meaningful for me, making sure that I do it in the right way, helping you all. This is like theories stacking on top of theories. Sometimes looking back on old theories and making much stronger for the future. Again, so that these theories that we made stronger can be used reliably when they're stacked again. With this, don't be limited with the format. Just understand the elements here in creating a simple but sound theoretical framework, as part of your thesis. Okay, so let's try this approach. You know that I'm doing my research side by side with you, and this is my title. I've uh, changed my title to be more narrow. Okay, now I'm focusing on working students. My stakeholders used to be species, and working student. Now it's just working students, more specific. My independent variable is online learning. Okay. My dependent variable is practical skills. My context is the real life application. Okay. My stakeholders, as I mentioned, are working students, and my research objective is to evaluate the impact. All right. So in this, we'll focus on the IV, online learning, the DV, practical skills, and creating a theoretical framework. So, we'll try this approach. First thing you do is to find the most recent and relevant theories that explains your IB, the impact of online learning. So, Tagalog muna ako para madali. Sabagay, mas may naiintindihan. Hindi ko naman ba ako nasa-stuck sa English. Sige, so sa madaling salita, ang una nating goal ay humanap ng teorya para sa ating independent variable. In my case, impact of online learning. Now, how do you do that? Okay? Not unless may nakuha ka ng scholarly articles prior to this, you could use that. But if you don't have, do this, a basic Google research. The thing now with Google is that it has AI integrated search features. So for me, I simply type in Google theories related to impact of online learning. So ito yung mga lumabas. Alright? But more importantly, when you search on Google, you have to write down as of 2024. We want it to be not only relevant but also recent. Okay? So tinype ko theories on impact of learning 2024 at ito ang lumabas. Now, you could also use AI, right? Gumamit ka ng ChatGPT if you want to. Brainstorm with AI, but don't rely on AI. Okay? Uh, Use AI, the same search prompt. Okay, I type in AI theories that explain impact of online learning as of 2024 at ito ang lumabas. But do take note of this. When we're using AI, depending on the school, there are institutional policies that student must adhere. Uh, with our school, there is no direct policy when it comes to AI, but there are direct policies when it comes to plagiarism. So sa madaling salita, if AI generates these answers for you copy pasting this is violating plagiarism. And of course, ethical use is also there. If you use AI, you have to be transparent that you use AI and what it did in your research. You should disclose that in the methodology section of your study. Okay? AI is a tool. It will not do the research for us because AI has limitations. If you would notice, AI would sometimes give you not not so accurate data, especially if you ask it for citations. But what AI is good for is for brainstorming. So that's what you disclose. You disclose that you've used AI for brainstorming. Right? Again, AI for academic integrity, you must avoid it to produce work, so that you won't engage in plagiarism. It depends upon the guidance. And also, you have to check back. So, using Google and using AI is good for a deductive approach, right? So, looking at this, ito yung lumabas, ito yung mga theories that help explain the impact of online learning. Choose a theory that explains the IB. Me, I choose the community of inquiry framework. COI. Yeah, COI ang tawag sa kanya. I chose this because among all the theories given, this one is the more recent. This one is around 2010, if I'm not mistaken, right? So once you have this, ito sa akin, Community of Inquiry Framework, now you have to look at primary sources because again, when you're doing research, you should not be limited to using secondary sources just like this, including Wikipedia, primary sources. But using this allowed us to narrow down to look at primary sources, right? So, how do we look at primary sources? Again, my choosing topic was community of inquiry framework, right? Now we look at primary sources. In our case, unfortunately, okay, in our case, unfortunately, uh, Systems Plus do not have access to other scholarly databases. But this doesn't mean that we couldn't use Google Scholars. For example, I like using Google Scholars because in Google Scholars it gives you a database of published articles, right? But there are certain limitations. Okay? So, di ba, ang pinili kong topic was, yan, kanina na pala, Community of Inquiry Framework. Type mo sa Google Scholars, search. I was gonna give you a list of articles regarding to that. Again, these are published, peer-reviewed, and tested. But the thing is, we want to look at the more recent one. So here's what you do. Hindi lang kita dito. May range dyan to the left side. Choose 2020. 2020. If you do that, it's gonna display the more recent articles related to the topic that you chose. So ayan, lalabas na caption. Isa-isahin mo yan. Try to look at the articles that fits your bill, that explains the theory. So for example, Ito, I like to choose this one. I'm building bridges to advance the committed of entry framework for online learning. I chose this topic. Click natin. Here's the thing with Google Scholar. Sometimes it's gonna give you articles with free access. Ibig sabihin, you don't have to pay for it to get the entire article, but sometimes you would be limited to journal articles na hanggang abstract lang. Okay? In this case, I have access to full articles. So, tingnan natin yung full article. Choose this one. Siya. Hindi pala siya full article. Okay, may bayad pala. Yun lang ang limitation natin dahil wala tayong subscription ng school natin. Pero it doesn't mean that we couldn't use abstract. Okay? I chose this one. So, if you've chosen this one to help explain your theory, ang gawin mo, copy-paste mo siya. Copy-paste mo muna. Ah, punta ka sa isang gawa ka ng bagong document. Just note. Copy-paste mo. And your job now is to paraphrase this. Now, this is where the process of making research, someone else's research, your own. You're not changing the information, you're citing them. Okay? You're using what they've known, what they discovered, and trying to craft it in your own way that helps supports your research. So again, do not copy paste, but paraphrase this. I chose this one because this, what they've done here, explains my theory. But then again, since limited tayo sa using abstract dahil Google Scholars lang tayo, you could also look at other researches to supplement you. So, babalikan ko to. Yan. For example, again, wala tayong access sa article. I'm gonna use the abstract. Copy-paste on that. Okay? But this one, you could tell, this one is pertaining to kinesiology. But nonetheless, it still pertains to community of inquiry theory. Balikan ko to. So I have now information nanggaling sa scholarly articles. Paraphrase this. Okay, paraphrase this para hindi siya copy-paste. Now, here's the thing. Here's the good thing if you use Google Scholars. Diba, ito yung dalawang pinili ko na scholarly article. If you click on this one, cite, yan, lalabas yung citations niya, yung APA niya. Ay, yung ano niya, yan, yung citations niya. And since we're going to use APA 7 for this study, we simply have to click on this one, ma-highlight na siya. I want you to copy this. Yan, share niya. Copy this. We're gonna use this for later. Alright? And then, lagay nyo siya dito sa ilalim. Right? So, I got this information. Yan, kahit abstract lang. And I got the source where I got it. Okay? Ito rin, ginamit natin a while ago. Copy nyo. Copy natin. Alright. So, now that it's there, ang magiging trabaho natin is to paraphrase. As of now, kung hindi pa kayo sanay paano mag-APA 7, what you can do is to simply do this, get the last name. For now, pero magkakaroon tayo ng class for APA 7. Get the last name here. Kung kagandahan dito, this is what I do. I copy this. And then, ito yung magiging format niya. Yan. Or kung maraming authors, you could simply write Shea et al. Yan siya. So, na-cite na to. Pero syempre, kailangan mo i-paraphrase to, okay? You need to paraphrase this. So, kunyari na na-paraphrase na natin siya. Ito yung magiging dulo niya. Meaning that the work that you paraphrase is citing the source. Okay, Shea et al. Alright? Okay. So, balik tayo dito. Alright. So, provided that you've searched in Google and in AI that allowed you to narrow down, and you've chosen your topic, now led you to using Google Scholars for this. You selected the abstract, right? It would look something like this. This is mine. This one has already been paraphrased. Yan, yung pinakita ko kanina. So, yun, pinopya ko yung resources here. Alright? The one that is highlighted in yellow came from secondary sources from Wikipedia. This one came from Google Scholars. Also, kung nga pala, include ko, if you want to use Wikipedia, if you can't find your theories in Google Scholars, you can also use Wikipedia. So yeah, for this example, we're gonna use Wikipedia, all right? Pero again, tandaan nyo, Wikipedia is not a very reliable source. All right, so ay, Google, ano pala to? There's a workaround with Wikipedia. Okay, so nasa Wikipedia ako. Community of Inquiry uh, Community of Inquiry Framework. Yeah. Alright, so ito, lumabas na, Community of Inquiry Framework. Browse through, read it. Within the article, you're gonna find the one that's more usable and relatable sa inyong topic. Ito, sakto, may education dito. So, I look at education. Ayan, sakto, may online learning. Sapol na sapol. Community of inquiry and online learning. So this is the information that I need. But here's the thing with Wikipedia. It's a secondary source. You have to go to the root source. What I like about Wikipedia is that they have these citations. Okay? So I got this, I want this, I want to look at the source. So I click this. Yeah. This leads me to the article that the primary source that talks about the community of inquiry. Okay? You could also copy paste this if you want to, or you could look directly to the source. Alright? So yan, may dalawa na ako nakuwang source kay Ling at saka yung sa Google Scholars. Ayan, nagkaroon ako ng access. Nagkaroon ako ng access sa article. Okay, so yan, pwede ko meron na akong source sa isang primary article that I could look at information about the theory that I've chosen. And copy it muna, and then you paraphrase it. So, if you manage to paraphrase it, it would look something like this. Alright, so again, going back, yung nahanap kong information from Google Scholars, I've highlighted them in green, and this is the citation. The one that I've found in Wikipedia, I highlighted it in yellow, and yun siya. Even though they came from secondary sources, okay, from Wikipedia, and the other one was from searching in Google, what I did was narrow it down and find the primary source, the primary information na yun ko pinagbasihan. Alright, so we narrowed down our search, and I managed to write this. Now again, may mga pros and cons. The pros of using Wikipedia is that it helps you narrow down your search. But I like with Wikipedia, nandun na yung mga sources. You could click the citations, and from the citations, if you're lucky enough, you could go directly to the journal article. But some information in Wikipedia are outdated. As much as possible, we want to be 5 years, 5 years old na information. What I like about Google Scholar is that okay siya, directly sa mga primary source siya. But then again, it doesn't give you full access. May mga certain site that allow that. Pero it gives you abstract. Na kung limited ka na sa abstract, try to use 1, 2, or 3 abstracts at the very least para magkaroon ng timbang siya. One abstract alone, even though it's primary source, may not be impactful. Okay? So try to use 3 as much as you can. And make sure that the explanation are consistent and in line with your IV. All right. All right, so now that we've identified the theory, our goal now is to categorize the IB. Okay, why is it important to categorize the IB? Why don't we just discuss about one IB? Yes, you can, but categorizing the IB allows us, to measure something specific within the IB because some IBs are very broad. Kunyari sa akin, ang IB ko is online learning. Can I measure entire online learning in an entire spectrum? That would be very difficult. But if I categorize this, describe what are the types of uh, online learning, this allows me to clarify relationships, have guided analysis, and more importantly, improved interpretation when we apply statistics in the future. All right. Again, now that we've chosen a theory, when we have to choose a fit category. At the very least, three. If it's one, okay, make sure that you provide a rational why it's one. Having categories allows us something we can measure because we cannot measure the entire theory in relation to our stakeholders. What we can measure, again, we can describe, we can interpret, we can analyze, and we can predict. Having categories also helps us in our statistical analysis in looking at the relationships and differences. And yun na nga, kapag mahimay-himay mo ang isang malaking bagay at alam mo ang ambag ng bawat parte, kaya mo bigyan ng pansin at rekomendasyon yung parte na nagbibigay halaga, nagbibigay significance sa iyong study. Mas madali ito kaysa, tignan mo yung buong panghalatan. So ayan, how do we determine what are the categories in my IB online learning? Again, simple Google research. Type mo lang what are the categories of online learning. Kung swerte ka, may AI at built-in yung Chrome mo, lalabas na agad yan. And according to this one, synchronous, asynchronous, hybrid, collaborative, linear, and blended learning. Okay? Or you could use AI. Right? Just to brainstorm. I use AI and it produced this one. Synchronous, asynchronous, blended, and hybrid learning. So there are differences and there are similarities by simply using Google or simply using AI. I look at this as a reference point and then try to determine what are the categories that best fit my stakeholders. Because even though there are categories, there are still certain categories that may not fit my stakeholders kasi nasa Pilipinas ako. Okay? In the Philippines ba, is there such thing as linear e-learning or collaborative learning? Maybe so, maybe not. Okay? But for my stakeholders, which are working students, okay, definitely when it comes to online learning, there are asynchronous, synchronous, there are blended, and there are MOOCs. Okay? Yeah, so choose your categories based on research and you have to explain what are the basis for you choosing this. Kailangan mo ilagay din yan sa theoretical framework. Right. So in my study, I chose MOOCs. I chose synchronous, asynchronous, blended, and MOOCs. Yan ang pinili kong apat base doon sa research. Again, justify that these type of online learning happens in my context in the Philippines. So going back, now that you have this, we have to look at primary sources that help explain these categories. So babalikan natin yung paraan na ginawa natin. Okay? Balik tayo sa balik tayo sa ayan, pwede rin Wikipedia. Sige, dahil nandiyan naman Wikipedia. Wikipedia muna just to narrow down. Okay? Let's type in types of online learning. Okay, online learning all does not exist. Minsan kasi depende na rin sa words na ginagamit mo eh. If you can't find a general description of it, minsan iisa-isahin mo. So, for example, synchronous learning. Synchronous learning. Okay, ayan, baka meron. Alright, so for bus, okay, ano, may explanation siya dito. Okay, so we could cite this, for example. Although medyo outdated to. Okay. Could use this, copy paste this, just for reference, and then copy the citations. Or you could also look directly sa Google Scholars na, using the same technique. Or yeah, synchronous online learning. Make sure that you're looking at the most recent one. Yan, lalabas yan. So, isa natin. For this one, I choose this. Ano ang pinaka, ano, effective okay, I'll click on this one. Again, mabibigyan tayo ng abstract. Minsan, hindi tayo mabibigyan ng whole article. But sometimes within the abstract, it provides an explanation of what your article is. Okay? So far, this one doesn't. Okay. Mm, ano ba magandang ano? What is? Okay. Ayan na lang, for example, sige, sige, online. Pwede rin naman dito, ano, categories of online learning. Pwedeng diretso na rin naman. Okay, this one, click na talaga. This one is a full article. So, marami kang may extract na data dito, information dito. You can find information related to the category that you chose, and when you've seen articles na related to it, and online supervisor, these are just examples. You could simply copy paste that on a different paper, right? And then paraphrase it. Paraphrase it. Ang importante while you're using this, kung may nagustuhan ka na article, is to save. Remember to save the citations, okay? Save this. Save this. You're gonna use this. All right? Okay. So if you manage to do that using the same technique, narrowing down from Google, ChatGPT, and Wikipedia, narrowing down to the primary source, to the published article, it would look something like this. Okay, the green ones are the ones from Google Scholars. Hinanap ko directly from Google Scholars, and again, ito na site ko siya. Okay, it's a matter of writing it. Okay, secondary, which is Wikipedia. Although these are older, a bit older, 2007, nonetheless, they're still very useful. Once you have them, once you copied, pasted them in one document, paraphrase. You really have to paraphrase, okay? We want to avoid plagiarism and include the citations, all right? See the citations, we're going to use that for future references. All right, so do the same with the dependent variable. Again, as I mentioned, this is a heavy legwork. We're trying to, I'm trying to, I'm trying to teach you an entire semester of research in less than, lumpas na ata tayo ng 20 minutes eh. So what you did with the IB, narrowed down, you try to find theories, okay? Try to find theories, deductive search, find the relevant theory that explains your IB, more research as much as possible. Use Google. It's going to point you to some theories. Use AI if you have to. It's going to point you to some theories. And once you've been pointed to that, find the one that is more relevant, that is more related to your topic. When you have that, punta ka ng Google Scholars, type it down to Google Scholars. In Google Scholars, again, you could narrow it down further with the most recent one, 2020, and then choose that, right? It's going to give you a list of published articles. Isa-isahin nyo. And when you're looking at one, all right, find read it, please read it, and paraphrase it. Extract information that you can use. Go back and you could save the citations as I've illustrated a while ago. We're going to use that citations to cite what you paraphrase. Okay? For now, if you don't know APA styles, ilagay mo lang sa baba yung buong APA 7 na citation. That will work for now. Ang importante is that you've constructed uh, a well-crafted explanation of your theory that does not come from, just your impressions and interpretation alone, but came from the published research of other people. More importantly, you're scholarly. All right? So do the same. When it comes to the categorization, you simply Google it, categories of online learning. In my case, use AI if you have to, lalabas doon yung mga categories and then try to find at least three for your study. Okay? Use that and then isa-isahin mo, go to Google Scholars, search about it, the more recent one. Okay? Don't forget to copy the citations and don't forget to paraphrase. All right? Do the same with the DV. It's going to be legwork. And once you're done with the DV, explain how the theory of the IV and how the theory of the DV relates. Okay, paano nagiging related yung dalawang teorya? Because by this time, may dalawang theory ka na. One for the IV, one for the DV. How does the two theory relate? Alright, at least three sentences. So how would it look like? This is how mine turned out. Alright, color coding. The ones in yellow are the IV, the information related to IV. Okay, you will look at it. Ito yung explanation. Use the theory that I've used. This is the categories that I've used to help explain. In my DV, ito siya. In my case, the theory I chose for my DV is the experiential learning theory by Kolb, right? And ito yung categories ng DV that I have. What are those? Technical skill development, ano pa ba? Critical thinking, problem-solving skills, communication, collaboration, professionalism, and ethical application. Right? And then lastly, in-explain ko how, the two theories relate to each other. Okay? Yan siya. And ito nga yan, yung mga references that I've used in writing this, I've also collected them. We're gonna use this later on when we collate everything that we've done. Importante, as we move along, you keep track, you keep tabs of all the references that you've been writing. All right? Alright, now we move on to conceptual maps. Conceptual map is a visual representation that outlines the relationship between concepts within a study. So for you to have a map, we should have concepts, conceptual maps. For you to have a map, we should have, you are here and you have the X kung saan ka papunta. Literal na mapa. Okay? It's literally a map that shows you where you are and where you're going. Or in this case, the parts of your study as it relates to each other. It shows the element. You will see later that it shows elements of the theoretical framework, the IB and the DB, and theories and categories in relationship to the objective and goal of the study. So, imagine this as the visual essence of your study. So again, for the purposes of this video, I'm showing you a conceptual map based on the study that I'm doing with you. Ito, mga examples of conceptual map. You could use different types of conceptual map. Pwede siya maging complicated, pwede siya maging very simple. Basta importante that you illustrate your data, the relationships of each data. Kada line, each line doesn't mean that it's just a line. A line represents a relationship. Is this concept going here? Pag ganyan, are they related to each other? What's the direction of the relationship? And every element that you put in a conceptual map has to go back to the title that you're writing. You can't just simply put any element there that comes up to your mind. Every element that you put in has a reason for being there. All right. For the purposes of this course, since all of us will be using quantitative based on the recommended topics that you've written, we'll use this simple process concept map. So this is mine. This is my study. Again, the title is Evaluating the Impact of Online Learning on the Practical and Real-Life Application of Working Student. Right? So titignan nyo, simple lang to. This is the IB. The IB is online learning, hence the yellow. And ano ba yung apat na categories that I've chosen based on the research that I've done? Asynchronous, synchronous, blended, and MOOCs. Again, this is guided by the theory that I have chosen. I did not just simply drop this out of mid-air. I have a theoretical underpinning and foundation which makes online learning these, right? The community of inquiry framework. Also, tugma sa aking research. Now, going back to my DV, my dependent variable is practical skills. Example, categories, as also I've done my research. technical skills, critical thinking, problem solving, communication, collaboration, and professionalism, with the underpinning of experiential learning theory, ELT, by Caldwell Al. Right? And ano bang goal? The goal here now is, uh, how online learning, okay, impacts practical skills, that leads to real life application, right, which is the context for working students. So this is a simple process map. Okay, the arrow shows the direction of the study, how the IV impacts the DV, how the DV produces this one. Okay, and I hope you understood this discussion. It's a heavy load talaga. Pero I believe in you that you could understand this. I provided for you a simple guide that you could follow. Ito lang naman siya for now. And I'm also gonna provide you my study. So we're gonna work hand to hand along for the ride. Okay? So, di ibig sabihin na wala tayong pasok, wala kayong gagawin for the next week. This will be a bit challenging, and what I expect is that you manage to have a theory, manage to have citations, research, kaya nga research tinawag na to, okay, citations on scholarly articles regarding that, manage to have categorization of your IV, also supporting research on that, and your DV, a theory for your DV, some categorizations for your DV, and lastly, explain how the theory. And from that, you just simply have to collate and simply produce this. Madali lang ang conceptual map. Basta may maganda kang theoretical underpinning. All right. So this is good, right? This is Professor Jojo signing out.